folks, welcome back to the Frontier Western Heritage Channel. I'm Todd Kessner outside of Tucson, Arizona, and today we're going to compare the performance and accuracy of a Colt Single Action Army 3rd generation to a Colt Single Action Army clone from Uberti. You know, there are just some iconic brands out there that people just seem to crave, and if you look at modern society, you could say maybe Chick-fil-A is one of those where people will wait in line at Chick-fil-A for 30 cars back, and the same thing with Starbucks. People will wait in line to get their Starbucks coffee. It's just something that they have to have. It's just really desirable for whatever reason of that individual. And I know very few gun people who wouldn't want a Colt Single Action Army. It's one of those things on your list that Colt is such an iconic brand historically that people just really crave this Colt Single Action Army. And I'm included. I have a 3rd generation one. I'm holding it right here, so I can't exclude myself from that group of people that have that desire. But as you probably know, if you've looked at Colts and the Single Action Army in particular, we're looking at probably in today's market about $2,000. And is it worth buying a gun because it has Colt's name on it, so you can be proud of that? And put it away in your safe and be afraid to shoot it, or if you do shoot it, people will ridicule you because you shot it when they think you should have put it in your safe. And this one was secondhand and had already cylinder been turned, and it wasn't anything pristine when I got it. So it's a shooter, and I enjoy shooting it, and I would enjoy shooting just about anything. You guys have seen me pick up antiques and shoot them as well, so I'm not a safe queen kind of guy. I like to be able to use the firearms that I purchased. But I got this secondhand, and so the price was reduced, but it's a Colt 3rd generation Single Action Army. Again, if you went out and tried to pick one up, you're looking at $2,000. So is that worth it? Compared to, this is a Uberti from Cimarron, 45 Colt, 5.5-inch barrel, operates exactly the same. Is it worth $2,000 to get one Colt when you could easily get 3 of these Ubertis for that $2,000? And if you're really looking around, you might even get 4 for the price of one Colt. So that's what we're going to look at today, just for the fun of it. I've got 4 different types of ammunition. I picked up some store-bought ammunition. This is the Winchester Silver Tip. It is a 225 grain bullet. It's more of a self-defense type 45 Colt. And I picked up some factory Cowboy rounds from Hornady to see how the lead performs. I picked up some other Cowboy rounds. These are HSM. These are 200 grain 45 Colt. These are all factory loaded 45 Colt ammunition. We're going to see how accurate those are. And then we're going to finish with some hand-loaded 40 grains of 2F 45 Colt and black powder. And I know you guys are going to freak out about the 2F versus 3F. This is what I had in stock. It shoots well, and I didn't load 3F just to come out here and do this. I'm using some existing loads. 3F works in a 45 Colt as well, and I know there are die-hard 3F people out there that think that's the only powder that needs to be manufactured, and in a lot of cases it does work well, and it would work well here too. But I've got 2F. We're going to try 2F black powder, and let's just see whether this $2,000 gun on the market today is worth that kind of money versus a $500 gun where you could buy several of them and compete in cowboy action shooting or whatever you wanted, or even self-defense if you wanted to carry a single action for self-defense as well. So I'm going to start with the Uberti. We're going to run some ammo through this thing. I've got a target set up downrange. I'll get a camera on that. 10 yards downrange, so I got 30 feet. Pretty decent distance for to check the accuracy of a pistol. And we'll do this in 2 parts. Part 1 is going to be this Uberti. Part 2 is going to be the Colt Single Action Army. We'll see how these two compare to one another, and we'll see if this iconic brand name is worth the money. All right, let's start out with the Cimarron Uberti 45 Colt, again 5.5-inch barrel. And I'm going to start with the self-defense rounds that I've got from Winchester, the Winchester Silver Tip, 225 grain. And I'm going to put 5 rounds downrange and see how accurate this gun is with the self-defense ammo. Well, that doesn't look too bad. Let's go down and take a closer look. All right, not a bad group at all. We're looking at probably 2-inch maximum. We take one out of that. Well, about 2 inches no matter which way you go on this, but pretty darn good group. And this is on this Uberti 45 Colt from Cimarron. Next up is the factory loaded Hornady Cowboy loads. These are 255 grain lead bullet 45 Colt. All right, not bad. I would claim the bottom one is my fault, but so we're still looking at about a 2-inch, 2.5, well, maybe, yeah, about a 3-inch group. So opened up a little bit. That flyer in the bottom is really my issue. My point of hold, by the way, is right here on the bottom of the black, because I wanted to give myself some room in case they were shooting high. So far, they're actually pretty darn close to point of aim, except for that one that I pulled. So not a bad performance here out of this Uberti. So let's give the HSM Cowboy loads a try here. This is a 200 grain bullet. Well, we're grouping okay for your average cowboy action shooting type application. And we're opening up a little bit. We're getting close to probably a little over 4 inches now, and with that 200 grain bullet. But still, plenty accurate for what you're going to do usually with a single action Army revolver. It's just not as good. I'm impressed with that self-defense ammo actually. And we got one more test to do. Let's try the black powder and see what that does. So for the last test on this pistol, I've got my hand-loaded black powder round. So again, this is 40 grains, a double F black powder. It's GoX and a 250 grain bullet. Those babies are stout and hot, especially out here in this Arizona sun. But let's go down and take a look at our pattern. So we're opening up a little bit again. Again, that could be, it just could be me. I'm embarrassingly shaky this morning. And I don't know if that's just a function of old age, or I should have had decaf on the way out when I stopped at the gas station to get coffee. I don't know. But point of aim again is at the bottom of the black. We're opening up somewhat from extreme, but we got 3 of them pretty darn close, and so I wouldn't throw that out the window as being a horrible load, and I think the pistol handled it pretty good. So let's wait till the end of part 2, and then we can compare it to the Colt Single Action Army. So that does it for the Cimarron Uberti 45 Colt Single Action Army clone, 5.5-inch barrel, and 4 different types of ammunition. Pretty pleased with how it shot. Keep an eye out for part 2, where I compare the Single Action Army Colt 3rd generation to the Cimarron Uberti, and we'll put that data side by side and see how the two compare. But as for now, that's it for today. I just want to thank you for coming. Oh, well, how does this happen? Wireless is a good idea. Well, we're opening up a little, what in the heck? and sure can't complain. Got a bug on me right up my nose. So what is it about Starbucks that somebody can get in the Starbucks line and you got a meeting at work and you're sitting there at the meeting that has started, and the person goes through the Starbucks line, shows up 45 minutes late and says, oh gee, I'm sorry that I'm late, that you wouldn't have believed the Starbucks line this morning. And for some reason that's a perfectly legitimate excuse for being late, 45 minutes late for a meeting. I don't get it, honestly. I just don't get it. I'd tell you to either leave 45 minutes earlier, or you stop at the gas station and get a cup of coffee. $1.99. What's wrong with that? It's good stuff. Don't use a Starbucks as your excuse, and don't accept Starbucks as the excuse to be late for a meeting. Talk to you later.